All right, everybody, let's come back together. So how did that go for everybody? How'd you like spending all that money? Anybody want to speak up? And you're on, yeah, and everybody's muted. If you just need to unmute yourself if you want to say something.
That was totally stressful.
It was stressful, Benita. Why?
Yeah, I felt a big responsibility. I don't know. So my first 100,000, I bought a chunk of land for 80,000. Wasn't really the piece that I wanted, but I felt like I had to spend the money. And then I gave 10,000 to Advancing Life and 10,000 to Operation Underground. So that, blew that right out of the water.
Like
and then
that.
the $1 million, I'm still working on that, but I'm building a big house and I'm figuring out how to take my whole family on a cruise to Alaska.
There you go. Cool. How'd that feel?
I'm sweating.
So did it make you nervous and excited at the same time?
Yes, it did. It made me feel like, oh my gosh, it was the responsibility of the amount of money that was scary to me. I'd love to do this like every day for a month.
Okay, so that's an interesting concept. Why don't you do it every day for a month? In fact, what if you had to spend $100,000 a day, every day? Okay, because if you don't spend it, the government's going to take it. Let's just say that's the scenario. Okay, so you can either give it to the government and they can, spend our tax dollars on whatever they want to spend it on, or you can spend it. And so you decide whether you're going to give it to the government or whether you're going to spend it. Who else had an experience? Carol.
I have a ministry that I support called India Transformed, and they have women's empowerment programs, and it costs $65 to sponsor a woman who is destitute for 6 months of training and community in a company of 20 women.
Wow.
And so in order to there's 20 women at a time that go through the program. It's 6 months long. And so it costs $7,800 for each 6 months. If I bring that out to a year of sponsoring this program, it's $156,000.
There you go.
They also have community transformation centers, and it costs $150 a month. They train in 12 students.
Love it.
So it ends up to be $216,000. So if I sponsored a women's empowerment program, a community transformation program, and then gave $628,000 to their building fund for the college that they're building over in India, that would be $1 million.
Love it. Love it. And how did that make you feel?
It makes me feel wonderful. I donated my stimulus check to the education fund for the gal that I've been sponsoring for 3 years, who graduated from high school and had no money to become a nurse, which is her dream.
Good for you. Good for you. So Carol, let me ask you a question. Did $1 million not seem like enough money? Did you need more?
Oh, I could have spent a lot more. Yeah.
So
but the
what?
thing is that this is one, this is the main thing, because I don't need a lot of money, but then it would be sort of nice to add some things like a trip to Alaska and some things I would like to do too. Absolutely.
So can you imagine, what if you had to spend $1 million a day? So you're like, today you spend $1 million. It took you 20 minutes. Okay. So just spend $1 million. Now tomorrow you got another $1 million, and you say, okay, listen, now your phone's ringing off the hook because everybody gets word that Carol Carter's giving away $1 million a day. And all of a sudden you got robocallers and everybody's like, hey, Carter, hey, do you want to be on my TV program? Do you want to be on my radio program? Do you want to sponsor my kid? Do you want to sponsor my school? Do you want to sponsor my project? And you're like, oh my gosh, I've gone from nobody paying attention to me to everybody paying attention to me. And they're all gold diggers. All they want is my money, right? So all of a sudden, it's not like that money solves all the problems. It just gives you different problems, right? Anybody else have that experience? Go ahead, Deb. Did you have an experience what did you experience during this abundant prosperity period?
I was taking care of a lady that didn't really need to be taken care of, but you know, if you can afford to have a personal care attendant, you know, um, you can just afford to have one, and she paid me very well. But what I saw was that indeed having all that money does not make you happy. It does not make you a nice person. It does not give you moral or, you know, a good night's sleep or those quality features that I believe all of us are looking for in our lives. Um, and but if she could have changed the way she thought, um, she could have been a Princess Diana, you know, and done good for a lot of the country, or like you say, you know, help the women in India, or you know, clean water wells, all that kind of stuff. So it really is specific. I mean, it can be for good or for evil, I guess, you know, and there's a lot of degrees in between.
That's right. Did you notice how specific Carol was? Did you notice,
Yes.
you know, this was not a pipe dream in Carol Carter's world. Carol can spend $1 million a day. Carol has it down to the penny, down to the person, down to the cause, down to the phone number of the cause, down to the address of the cause, down to the women that are going to benefit by the cause that I mean, didn't you get when Carol was speaking that if you gave her $1 million right now, it would be put to really good work. It would be $1 million that would amplify itself 100 times, 1,000 times. Do you see how just that $1 million, it seemed like a lot of money? And then when Carol was talking, did you see how small of amount that sounded like? Right? You're like, oh my gosh, please give Carol Carter more money. She can spend it really wisely. And when Carol Carter has $1 million a day, the world is going to be a better place. Did you get that feeling? Did you get the feeling? Oh my gosh, Carol, nobody makes $1 million a day. And if the people make $1 million a day, they're spoiled trust funders who are greedy and have a love of money and have a, you know, and money doesn't grow on trees. And that's absolutely garbage that you even think like that. You know what I mean? I didn't get that feeling at all. Did you guys? Didn't you feel like, oh my gosh, if I had $1 million, I'd give it to Carol Carter, and I'd give her $1 million a day because she seems responsible with that money. She knows that, you know, she knows what percentage of each dollar is going towards the charity and not towards the administrative work of the charity, right? I mean, so anyway, isn't this a cool exercise? We're at the bottom of the hour, but I would challenge you, if you have financial limitations in your brain, to shatter those limitations and allow yourself to earn $1 million, whatever you need. You know, there are no ceilings, and the amount you can earn in ASEA, it's unlimited. And I don't know if you heard the interview last night with Mal Sword. If you haven't heard the interview with Mal Sword, then I would recommend going to Atomic Wellness Facebook page and watching that interview. It takes 30 minutes, but the man came from rags to riches 5 years ago when he was, you know, in his later years. He's not an old guy, but you know, he's got young kids and he's in his 60s, right? And he was destitute after being really successful, really successful. He lost everything and had to start all over again. And it was his shame and his pride that was stopping him, because he really doubted everything about himself. And all he could do when people are like, come on, think big, he's like, listen, all I want to do is make $100 a week. Once I make $100 a week, then I'll do $200 a week. Once I make $200 a week, maybe I'll do $500 a week. And he baby stepped it because it had to be real. And he was so crushed from life that he couldn't think about spending $1 million a day. It made him stressed. Okay. So if you're there, start small and go bigger, you know, and kind of just get an awareness about your financial boundaries, because when you get more money, what's going to happen to the world? Are you going to turn into this greedy, self-centered egomaniac? Or are you going to turn into this philanthropic, do good, oh my gosh, my life makes a difference kind of person. You know, it's your choice. Money is energy. It's not neither good nor bad. It's what we do with the money, right? That's why when people say, if you made $1 million, you know, a week, what would you spend it on? It's not the $1 million, it's what you spend it on, because $1 million sitting in the bank is not going to do anybody any good, except the bank is going to make money off your money, which is usually what happens. And it's why people at 65 years old are either dead or dead broke, because they did not understand how to earn money. Okay. Our schools do not teach us how to earn money. They teach us how to memorize information and how to get a job. Okay. And that is old thinking. We need to learn how to think and how to earn money. And that's why we're teaching people the principle of leverage and the principle of geometric progression, right? How you can spend 1 hour explaining the ASEA story to one person, or you can spend that same 1 hour explaining this ASEA story to 50 people, 500 people, 5,000 people, 500,000 people. That's why Eric Worre's goal is to have 250,000 people on this year's GoPro event in September, because he's got a virtual studio that he invested $20 million to make happen. Okay, his theory, his motto to his life is say yes, declare it to the world, then figure it out. Okay, he's a ready, fire, aim guy, right? And it's not a bad thing. Okay, luckily he's married to Marina, and he says, okay, Marina, here's what I've done. I've just said that we are going to have $250,000 at our GoPro event in September. I've declared it to the world. Now, Marina, would you please figure it out? And then she puts together the studio in 90 days. The woman is a rock star. Okay. So anyway, great exercise today, you guys. Think big and know that the world's going to be a better place because you were brave enough to think big. Great morning, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Quick ad.
Yes.
You Were Born Rich is a free download at bobproctor.com.
There you go.
The first chapter's on money.
Great tip. And if you don't adapt to the world in 2021, you will find yourself beautifully prepared for a world that no longer exists. That's Bob Proctor. Have a great day, guys.
Yes. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.